everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to play some Eternal Glory. So, last time we went off, we did chapter 1 of his route, so we're going to go with chapter 2. Chapter 2, the Principle of Discord. When I regained consciousness, my body wouldn't move at all. It felt like I was under a heavy weight, like being pressed down by an enormous rock. My mind was awake, but no matter how hard I tried, my limbs wouldn't budge. In the midst of the painful sensation, I tried to recall how I ended up in this condition. I remembered the head of the Holy Knights had received my consent to use healing magic and had begun the spell. I could recall the feeling of recovery magic flowing into my body, but beyond the point, I couldn't remember anything. Or thinking that we got stabbed with his sword. I could only guess I had been grappling something desperately based on how my hands were still trembling. When I briefly regained consciousness, there was a sword in my heart. At this point, the head seemed to have used some other kind of magic instead of healing. Well, we now learned that he's not to be trusted. As the head of the Holy Knights used the unknown magic, it seemed the curse, which was spreading from my mind and body, was instantly suppressed. Even now, my body continued to tremble, as if they were still being overwhelmed by the visible force. At that moment, I was fortunate to wake up. My physical and mental state wasn't great. It had lost consciousness again. I might have been stuck in the infirmary for much longer. And I'm going to be cursing out his name for the rest of my life, even if I end up dating the guy, because piercing someone with a sword is when we gave you trust and thought you were going to be, I don't know, trustworthy. Screw you. My heart, it was definitely pierced by a sword. Instinctively, I reached for my chest as soon as I woke up. I had been through a lot, but I never experienced having a sword launch my heart, and seeing it happen right before my eyes was a shock. I would technically think you would be dead if you had in your heart. It hurts a little, but there's no blood or scar. But felt way too real to be a dream. Yeah, but we would be dead. Suddenly my hand brushed against something familiar near my chest. It was none other than my leather notebook. The one I had been using to document the effects of my curse. So the sword piercing my heart was real after all. The notebook had a clear tear right through the middle, exactly where the sword had gone through. Oh, he's still a butt. What in the world? Oh, I'm not gonna trust him anymore. That was sure more surreal than my dream. In the days, I opened the ruined book. The first page that contained my very first note was completely ruined. All thanks to that butthole. The entire third floor of the inn was consumed by flames. The single sentence brought me fully back to my senses. All at once, a cold fear runs down my spine. I know what the word is, but so that's like, if I'm going to stutter on it, I'm going to use a word that's easier. If the head of the Holy Knights hadn't intervened in time, hadn't taken the swift action, then if the fire from my curse had reached not into the third floor of the inn, but the Holy Knights as well, the consequences would have been disastrous. Let's scroll him. My already trembling hands began shaking even harder. Good day, Digimon. Good morning. No, I mean good afternoon. I'm not sure if you heard me properly. Hello, Sir Guildford. Are you alright? Yes, for now. I can't tell if you I can't tell I can't tell you how relieved I am to hear you speaking clearly and not even remembering my name. But what in the world happened? You didn't overdo it during training, did you? When I heard you passed out during training and ended up in the infirmary, I was totally freaked out. How are you feeling? I heard your fever finally broke after some time, but you were still unconscious, so I was worried sick. All thanks to your friend, the guy you're squire for. Who was it? Who pushed you too hard during training? It wasn't because of training. I think I just collapsed because I've been a bit worn out lately. The Holy Nights is a new environment for me, and as a training knight, I need to build up my basic stamina, so I think my body just reacted to a change. If that's what you're saying, then alright, I understand. I'm just relieved that the treatment worked. We tried everything, nothing was lowering your fever, not even magic, but after many attempts, we finally found a medicine that suited you. Oh yeah, because he didn't use the healing magic on me. But was there anything strange happening while I was unconscious in the infirmary? Strange? What do you mean by strange? Well, was there a sword pierced my heart? I couldn't exactly bring up the fire, so after thinking it over, I decided to mention the head of the Holy Knights instead. For example, did the head visit the infirmary while I was unconscious or something like that? What? No, absolutely not. Oh, he totally did. Your fever only broke because we found the right medicine. The head didn't show up and magically make you better, letting the infirmary staff breathe easy. Yeah, none of that happened. I know you're lying, Leo. Plus, he stabbed me for the heart. Sir Guildford wears his emotions all over his hot face. Absolutely not. I already know the head came by, Sir Guildford. What? How did you know? Well, because I was awake. No, that's not it. The head has been buried in work and hasn't left his office, I swear. I still hear this lying. It seems like Sir Guildford really doesn't want to admit the head's visit. But his reactions just confirms it even more. With all his emotions written on his face, it was impossible for Leo to hide the truth from me, no matter how much he tries to deny it. It was clear that he wanted to change the subject from the head of the Holy Knights to anything else. But I had to know the truth, so I decided to confront him directly. Confront him directly. Even though I only met the head briefly, it seemed he used some kind of unique power. I'm not sure if I should say much, but if you look in the notebook, you might understand. The moment I showed Leo the notebook, with a massive tear in the middle, his expression faltered. As a head squire, I think you'll be able to sense it. Does this notebook carry an energy from the head's power? Like, he's gonna lie. That's... This notebook should be enough proof that the head visited me. It's like, I know he'd visit me. At this point, I can't hide it from you any longer, Digimon. Yeah, no, you can't. Yes, the head did visit the infirmary to check your condition, and during this time, he did use that unique power you mentioned. To stab me for the heart, right? I don't remember everything clearly from the time, so could you tell me more about what happened? I'm sorry, but I don't know the full details either. This time, the head didn't share everything with me. Wheeled downcast response left me feeling disappointed as well. Even if the head of the Holy Knights came to check on me due to the curse. He was investigating how did it lead to the situation where a sword was driven into my heart. What did it mean? If nothing else, I at least want to know what the head had been thinking, and how he is now viewed me, and how he now viewed me after going through such a ordeal together. I just wanted some assurance that my life was safe. In the midst of this frustrating situation, a long silence fell as none of us could find the words to break it. After a long period of stillness, I finally managed to calm my nerves and cautiously spoke up. Could I ask you what kind of person the head of the Holy Knights is, Sir Guildford? You don't know. You don't have to give me too much details. I'd like to know if he's anything like the head of the Reaper Corps, the one in the red shirt. He's definitely not. Even though I haven't played his route yet. Of course, the head of the Holy Knights told me he would never break the rules of the land lightly. So I already feel like he's quite different. The head in the white shirt, in the red shirt, our head is nothing like the head of the Reaper Corps. Those two aren't even comparable. Yeah, he probably went stab me for the heart. And just to be clear, our head isn't comparable to the head of the Divine Ministry either. Leo's vehement reaction caught me off guard as I blinked in surprise as his passionately continued his speech. Our head is the strongest amongst the leaders of the three divine organizations, but he never abuses his power. Not only that, as you mentioned, he upholds the laws more strictly than anyone else. I had to agree with Leo's last statement at least. Even the mage and doctors I had gone to in the past to try to resolve the curse often used magic on me without my consent. I never expected the head of the Holy Knights to ask me for my permission. But that only made the hazy memory of the head using such overwhelming power on me even more upsetting. Can I ask one more thing, Mr. Guildford? Of course. If it's a question about respecting our head, I'm happy to answer anything. Does the fact that someone as strict as a head would use magic on me without my consent mean that the situation was truly exceptional? Absolutely. That's also in the laws of the land. It's clearly stated, except in special cases, one must always have the other person's consent before casting magic on them. Well, he did have consent. It was just the wrong type of magic. The unique power the head used on you falls under the context as well. For the head of the Holy Knights to use such power on a mere trainee like me, it must be because of my curse. It's strange, though. The curse has been dominant for so long, so why now? Because it's coming back. Oh my goodness! You're finally awake, Digimon. Gosh, when I heard you collapse during basic training, were moved to Fermi, we were so shocked. The two senior trainees who have been supervising my training came to visit me in the Fermi. I felt both embarrassed and grateful, and for the moment I pushed aside my anxiety to greet them. The two chattered with Leo as well, checking on my condition. But they quickly prepared to leave, likely because they had squeezed in this visiting during a busy schedule. I expressed my thanks and regret as they, along with Leo, prepared to say their goodbyes. But, Sir Guildford, is it true that the head has cancelled all his appointments for the past 3 days and is resting? Oh, because the power made him tired. What? Upon hearing the update of the head, I couldn't help but drop a smile and show my confusion. I heard the head hasn't had any particularly strenuous task lately. He couldn't be unwell, could he? The news is true, but it does not worry me as well. Wait. Just now. Wait. But you know how strong the head is, so I'm sure he'll be back on his feet in no time. The two trainees don't notice, but I'm standing close to Leo, caught in his brief glance in my direction, before he quickly averted his gaze. That small gesture was enough to make me certain that the head's recent break was somehow related to me. Probably the magic. Eventually, the two senior trainees left the infirmary after wishing me a speedy recovery. Leo, too, seemed ready to leave, having restored my damaged notebook and signaling that he would be heading out soon. Wait, Sir Guildford, before you go, could I ask you one last favor? What is it, Digitwave? I'm really sorry to ask you this, but if the head is resting because of something I caused, I feel like I should apologize to him personally. But I don't know if it's appropriate for me to visit him at his office unannounced, or could you let him know that I'd like to see him? You're surprisingly interested in the head and Digitwave, not just in a professional sense, but personally as well. There are very few people in the Holy Knights who show this much concern for him. It's not about interest or concern. It's that I need to ask the head directly about what happened. At the very least, I don't want anyone in the Holy Knights to suffer because of me. I spoke with firm conviction, countering Leo's hesitate reaction. Very well, I'll escort you to the head's office. After my earnest request, Leo finally agreed to help me. But remember, whoever the head decides to see you or not is entirely up to him. I understand and I'll keep that in mind. With a resolute nod, I slowly got up, preparing to head towards the head of the Holy Knight's office. Also, I didn't think Leo expected the head to meet me. I wasn't really expecting it either, but there he is. Surprisingly, the decision to allow me an audience with the head of the Holy Knights was made easily, and both me and Leo were taken back. Thus, I was granted an office meeting with the head of the Holy Knights. However, the silence that followed as his gazed at me intensely without speaking felt unbearably heavy. Still, understand his silence was his way of signaling for me to state my business, so I hurried to choose my words. Bring up the cancellation of his office schedule first. Start by apologizing for causing him trouble. I'm gonna go start by apologizing for causing him trouble. I'm here to apologize for causing you trouble. Is that all you have to say? Pardon? I'm asking if there's anything else you want to report to me. If it's something the head of the Holy Knights, need to know, be sure to tell me. Understanding the meaning behind his words isn't difficult. He was impractically asking me to reveal what I knew about my curse. But knowing how strictly he abides to the laws of the land, I couldn't guarantee what would happen if I told him everything about my curse just yet. At least not right now. So instead of being completely honest, I decided to give him a vague answer. The reason you face difficulty, I think you're already aware of it. At least you understand that your presence is causing some complications. However, it seems you're not quite ready to fully discuss the matter, so let's move on to other things. You're aware that maintaining your physical condition is one of the night's duties, aren't you? Then why did you collapse during training so soon after joining the Holy Knights? You must know it's not a good sign for a trainee to show such a lapse in just 2 weeks of joining. Unless there's a valid reason, I'm sure I can only see this as a failure to fulfill your nightly duties. So let me ask, does the curse you mentioned manifest for you, and are you unable to control it? It would be a lie to say I wasn't taken back by the head's brute question. In fact, I started to wonder if he might be more scared than our two heads, who had only shown vague interest in my curse. But to address the issue, it's crucial to understand the root cause. Remember, my curse, the harm it causes, the damage it inflicts. And the head wasn't even asking for the full disclosure about my curse, just a specific detail. From the start, it seemed like he was more focused on eliminating the curse than worrying about minor issues. Yes, I can't control its terrible power. It's heavily influenced by my emotional state, but more often than not, it just explodes on its own. It was the same when I harmed you, Head. It wasn't something I did intentionally, and I don't even clearly remember what happened. I just swear I don't want anyone else to suffer because of this curse. So you're saying that others have already suffered because of it? His next words left me unable to respond immediately. The mere mention of it stirred up a wave of guilt and longing for my parents, emotions that nearly overwhelmed me. If there's anything more to report, do so now. I'm sorry, you're right, but I don't think I could tell you everything right now. I still don't fully understand your stance on my curse, or what kind of person you are, Head, especially after you stabbed me for the heart. Sorry. I will never go with that. Even if you were to explain your position, I'm not yet ready to trust you enough to tell you everything, especially after the heart thing. I see very well. At the very least, you answered what I'm asking, and that's enough for me to consider this matter. Extenuating. However, we have to wait and see how your condition affects not only Knights, but your own future. I already knew this, but the sharpness of his straightforward words pierced deeper than I expected. But even so, the only thing I didn't want to be expelled from the Holy Knights. I'll do everything in my power to assure that I don't cause any more harm to the Holy Knights. I promise I won't. Never again, absolutely never. Head, may I borrow your pen for a moment? While the head looks at me with a confused expression, I grab the pen from his desk and pull out the notebook from my coat. Even though I could feel his pointing gaze questioning what I'm doing, I calmly wrote a bold note in the notebook. After finishing, I show him the second page of the notebook, where a clear sentence was written. This notebook is a recording of the pain of those who have suffered because of me. That's why I borrowed your pen just now, to write down that I disrupted your schedule. So what is the ultimate purpose of these records to you? To not forget to remember the pain of those who suffered because of me. And also to remind myself not to cause that kind of harm again. Of course, I can't always control it, so I haven't been able to keep the promise very well. But that's why. That's all the reason I keep this notebook. No matter what others might think, whatever they believe, I have some hidden move, or see it as a mere formality. My sincerity is all here. The technique of driving a sword into someone's heart, where resigning a spell is meant to subdue the opponent, but sometimes the opponent's energy can be fully transmitted. The energy I felt from the woman when I used my powers was tainted, filled with impurity. Yet the fact that my spell worked on her without resistance means she also carries the energy similar to mine. Also, I have powerful magic at the same time. Could it be that the barrier allowed her presence here because it recognized her purity, even amongst the impurity? Impure and impure at the same time. I'm just a yin and yang right there. Purity strong enough to counterbalance the overwhelming impurity. But these two extremes cannot coexist in one being, nor can they be harmonized. One will will eventually be driven out someday. In any case, from what you said, it seems your presence has been fortunate to the Holy Knights, so I must continue the restrictions placed upon you. What restrictions are you referring to? You're aware that I drove a sword into your heart that day, correct? Yes, I know. So what about? At that time, I had to suppress the uncontrollable impure energy within you, and in doing so, I also had to suppress your magic. This means that while I'm restricting you, you'll be unable to use any magic. If you have any complaints, or if you disagree with my actions, speak now. No, I have no complaints. I have already lost my ability to use magic long ago. In other words, whether my magic is restricted or not, it wouldn't change anything in my life. In fact, I should be thanking you instead. As I mentioned before, I don't want to hurt anyone, including myself, anymore. So I'm grateful that you use your powers to help suppress me. It's like, yeah. Like, what? You're not mad? No, I'm mad about the heart thing. See, very well. Then we will leave this matter as is. However, I will need your cooperation one more time. To fully access your condition, we need the head of the Reaper Corps, Heisen, to conduct an examination on you. Wait, no. Will that be acceptable? At the mention of the Reaper Corps, made it impossible for me to stay calm. After a long pause, I finally managed to collect myself and raise my concern in a calm voice as I could muster. But the head of the Reaper Corps doesn't seem to think well of me. In fact, it seems like he holds some hostility towards me. It's like, really? Like, I think they all kind of do. He kind of stabbed us for the heart to use his power. You're concerned with your safety, but you need not worry about that. Unless it's a special case, you won't meet Heisen alone. You're gonna go with me? I'll be right there beside you during your meeting with Heisen. And if he tries anything reckless, we'll immediately stop him. Good. At least in this situation, there will be no danger to you. At least in this situation, does that mean there could be danger in other situations? In any case, I'm doing everything I can to find ways to minimize the damage your curse might cause. I'm sure you understand that cooperating with me is in your best interest. But I cannot skip the step of getting your consent, so I ask you again, Is this acceptable to you? Yes, I agree. There are no other choices. There's no other choice. There was nothing wrong with the head of the Holy Knights what the head of the Holy Knights said. In fact, I felt the same way. The feeling that I could do anything to minimize the harm I might cause. Understand. Thank you for your cooperation. And as I said before, I don't make ideal promises. I could fully support you and make sure Heisen doesn't try anything reckless. You can rest assured that there's no need to worry about Heisen's potential danger. Still, thanks to the head of the Holy Knights' firm declaration, I was able to calm my anxiety, even if just a little. And that was chapter 2. If you like my content, please subscribe, like the video, help out, and comment down below. See you guys next time.